What you're trying to say, Sharam, is we've got the ideal, but our reality, and there's a big gap in between, and how are we going to fill that up? It's now the age of the children. Many of our members have gone to school, they've learned this or that. It's time to use our knowledge to start putting things into practice.
True Mother's idea that peace starts with me. I can't change anything in the outside, but by changing myself, and then automatically I gain influences on the outside world.
What are the principles of bringing peace? Woman or mother is the era of interpersonal relationships. Usually, what we do in our program, we just invite the people that agree with us. That's not a discussion, that's a promotion. That's not going to solve our problem if we don't invite somebody that it disagrees with us.
A few days ago, she's Christian. She asked me, "Do you believe in Jesus?" I said, "I believe in Jesus. I believe from the bottom of my heart is that God is our heavenly parent. And if God is our heavenly parent," I said, "then we are brothers and sisters." Yeah. And that hit the point.
My wife, Angelica, is quite a bit of an expert in this area of reconciliation, and especially through the Bridge of Peace. Angelica has tweaked during her time in Women's Federation to become something that brings about not just a physical crossing of the bridge, actually unites people in a very deep emotional fashion, focusing on issues such as you're talking about, Sharam.
Dealing with issues and finding a way to try to solve them. That as a movement, we've had to deal with these issues, and we're sharing our experiences or the results of it.
It's not have to always be about how successful we are. Because we were born in the era of communism and all, we're all about fighting and winning and defeating. I've always been thinking about how can I defeat somebody in a debate. But I've changed a lot. You cannot solve a problem only with ideology. Ideology is where you start, but you need also to actually figure out building relationships with people that you disagree, how you listen to them, how do you resolve, even if you don't resolve it, at least you don't lose the relationship in the first place. Number one issue in a conflict resolution is don't lose the relationship. And I was near almost going to do that same thing to my children, but somehow I was able to get a hold of myself. I had to go back work on myself. Then I came back and started just calling them and saying how's the weather and just build relationship from there. Now we have once in a while deep talks with my daughter.
We have to always be aware and remind ourselves, regardless of how a child behaves, is receptive, selfless parental love. We have simply invested into the relationship, but that pays off in the long run.
Ideology is like the seed. It doesn't develop by itself. It needs a womb. It needs an environment. So to create that culture of transparency, culture where we can talk about any stuff.
I feel I've learned things as well here this evening. Like you said, don't lose the relationship. That for me is like a seed of consciousness, something I don't always have in the front of my mind whenever I'm in conflict. And I think Joseph said something on focus, how to reach the person's heart, be interested in what's going. What you're trying to say, Sharam, is we've got the ideal, but our reality, and there's a big gap in between, and how are we going to fill that up? Some people are making efforts doing this, but you feel that we also need an effort that connects with the society, and use that as a witnessing tool as well, to say, hey, we've had issues, but this is how we've been trying to do it, and it could be a base for other people to connect with us and learn from us as well.
You bet. We think our vulnerabilities is going to cut us off from the rest of them. Feel so much more connected.
When we talk about divine principle, what are we talking about? I mean, the laws of love, of give and take. Everything follows sowing and reaping. Then the principle of growth and development, and the principle of freedom and responsibility.
We've emphasized the word responsibility. However, we don't talk about the principle of growth as well as the concept of give and receive action.
Yeah.
It takes give and receive, not just give, lecture and lecture. Actually, hearing means receiving somebody, listening to somebody that you totally disagree with to win their heart. You're really empathizing with them.
Yeah.
I always say, if I was you, I would have done the same. When you say that, it helps the person open up instead of being arrogant and oh no, I would never do such a thing. If somebody like says something against them, never ever talk to him. We shun him, cut him off. We still keep the relationship. We don't go around telling him you're okay. Neither do we cut him off. We don't bring it up until there is a relationship. The bonding starts to happen again. We need to make that more of our culture. You're either in group, the out group. They don't have anything in between. One of the principles of conflict resolution is know about the background of the conflict, the background of the people in the conflict. If you understand their culture background, then you can resolve the conflict better.
We have a lot of meetings where I think I disagree with a lot of stuff that goes on, and I usually keep my mouth shut.
We have to create a safe environment where we could say it.
Viktor Frankl, he's an Austrian psychiatrist. He was in the concentration camp. He had to shovel the ashes of the dead bodies aside and so forth. And one day he realized it doesn't matter how people treat him, how he reacts to it. When people treat him badly, it's up to him. If his identity is hurt, he keeps dignity. His students, the core of freedom, that I can choose. There's the space between action and reaction, and I can choose how I react.